Okay, so we just talked about Fed 10 and James Madison's solution to the problem of factions. His solution was that of a large republic because he said the competing factions would ultimately balance each other out. All right, I wanted to also talk about Fed number 51. That is the other one. Another one, there are a number of Federalist Papers that historians remember, but Fed 51 is the one that talked about checks and balances. So Fed 51 is where Madison laid out the fact that, and this is the quote, he said, "Men are not angels." So essentially, what Madison was saying was that we need to have ways to control the government once they get into power. And the way that he saw to do that was checks and balances. So we're going to talk in a minute about checks and balances. But I wanted to kind of first get a little bit more into what is called the Madisonian system. All right, so the Madisonian system is one where Madison said democracy would work best if you took the direct power over the government out of the direct hands of the people. So in other words, you set up some layers between the people and the government. He said, first, allow the government to control the people. That's where we're going to be seeing the indirect election and appointment of people who serve in the government. And then he said you had to allow the government to control itself. That's where checks and balances comes in. All right, so let's look at the Madisonian system. In a democracy, the people, of course, is where power is initiated. Power always starts with the people. And we'll look at the federal government. Okay. According to the Constitution, the people directly elect the House of Representatives, and they serve 2-year terms. This was meant to be extremely responsive to the people. This body was supposed to be very responsive to the will of the people. Next, we have the United States Senate. But under the Constitution, the Senate was not directly elected. Instead, the people elected the state legislatures, who then chose the senators. Next, the president. But of course, the president wasn't chosen directly by the people either under the original Constitution. Rather, the people elected the electors who served in the Electoral College. The electors then chose the president. And then finally, the last branch is the judiciary. The judiciary is the most removed from the people. So the judiciary, we know that the president nominates Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2. The president nominates Supreme Court justices, and the Senate confirms them with a 51% vote. That's the Supreme Court. Okay, so here is the point. I did want to make one comment about the electors. When the Founding Fathers created the structure of the Electoral College, they intended that the electors could actually overrule the will of the people. That has not been how the Electoral College has been used in the United States. We have a practice of really the Electoral College has pretty much uniformly reflected the will of the people. But this is the Madisonian system, the idea that some things, the House of Representatives would be very directly in control of the government, of the House of Representatives, but other portions of the government would be outside the direct control of the people. That's the piece of Madison's system where he said, allow the government to control the people. And then in the next video, we will talk about checks and balances, which was how Madison envisioned the government controlling itself.